Hi, I'm Morgan. My business is Morgan Cameron Art. I'm a working artist. I live in Maine, and I had someone recently ask me about some art business questions, so I thought I'd put them into a video in case they could help anybody else out. So the first question that she asked me was a really good question, and it is the most basic question any artist can ask, but it is also pretty hard to answer, and that is about pricing your artwork. So I'm just going to give some advice and from my own experience and give my own opinions. You could find something totally different on the internet, or someone else could tell you something else, but so take that as you will. I'm just going to do my best to answer the question as best I can. Right. So the first time that I had to really price my artwork for the public was back in 2012 when I did my first art market. I didn't know what to price my paintings at, and so I did some Google searches and found a lot of articles that said a lot of different things about pricing your artwork. But overall, they said no one can price your work better than you can. And it's like, that's kind of true, but when you're starting out, that's not that helpful. So what I did was price my work kind of modestly in the beginning. I started with like the low to mid hundreds on my paintings, mostly low, and then some smaller paintings and drawings underneath 100 to start with. If you ever plan to do something like an art market, the best thing that you could do is go to one. Often they're only one weekend out of the year. If you don't have the opportunity to go the previous year to check out the artwork, go to other art markets in the area before the one that you're going to participate in if you have a chance. And look at the artwork, compare it to yours, the type of medium, the sizes, and then how long they have been doing it for. Somebody who has a name for themselves and have been doing this a long time, their artwork will be valued more than if you're just starting out. So that's something to keep in mind. Every art market I have been to have had a bunch of experienced artists, more than happy to give you some advice and helpful tips. So don't be afraid to go up and ask somebody how they got started, how they price their work, if they've been doing this particular art market that you're gonna start doing, like if this isn't their first time, if they've been doing this one for year after year after year, they probably have a good sense of what the kind of price bracket is for that art market. Same thing kind of goes for if you're not selling art at an art market, but you're just selling artwork on your own, maybe through online sources. You can still check out other artwork in the area that you're trying to sell and compare and contrast. Like I said, I actually had moved and then started that art market that summer kind of right away, and I hadn't been to any others in the beginning, so I priced my work modestly. A great tip that I got there from somebody else was you don't want to undercut or overprice your artwork compared to everybody else's. That's just not very good business etiquette to your fellow artists, but also like the clients aren't gonna appreciate huge price gaps. Now, that being said, a lot of art markets can have a huge variety of pieces and like types of artwork, and they could have a large bracket between like especially if they're a craft and fine art market mix. Again, the best thing you can do is just check out what everyone else has and try to find the best fit within that block for yourself. Another thing you could consider, and I see this with a lot of new artists selling their artwork, is be prepared to lower your expectations pricing wise in the beginning. I know that when I first started out, and a lot of other young artists like myself, you get kind of attached to your artwork and you don't really want to give it up for less than you think it's worth. But I mean, it really depends on your goal. I learned pretty quick my goal was just to move artwork and out of my studio and sell it and make some extra money and get my name out there. It wasn't about setting a high price from the beginning and being like, I am valued this much and everybody else should think that, because you hear a lot, if you price higher, they think the quality of work is better. And I mean, that could definitely be the case in some situations, but my goal, like I said, was just getting artwork out of my studio. I knew I could replace the artwork pretty quickly. You can always up your prices later. the better you get, and the more you sell, the more of a name you make for yourself. So just getting the ball rolling was the most important thing for me. So I kind of priced modestly, and something that I've done almost every art market that I've been in is, especially when it's a whole weekend art market, I'll have my prices set Saturday morning, and then by Sunday evening, the last few hours of the show, I discount a lot of my artwork just to see if I can sell and move it. Because if you're like me and you paint a lot, your studio space is going to get filled up. For me, it was better to get my artwork out there and make some extra money that I could invest back into painting more, and then just having all those paintings sitting in my room not doing anything. So just something to consider. Some other ways you can price your artwork is, one, you could price by square inch. That could be a good way for you to start. Basically, take your painting of whatever size and say that's going to be a $400 painting. You break it up into square inch. This is how many dollars per square inch. Every other size that you have over that, just do the same method. How many square inches, and that same dollar price per square inch. It's a good way to keep your prices consistent per size. So that was an easy way for me to start. I tried doing that a little while. A lot of galleries do the same thing. So that's one way. Another way is, if you wanted to, you could price your work by hour, and how many hours it takes you to do it, the cost of materials that went into it, the cost of, packaging and shipping, plus tax. You could do it that way. If you wanted to just say, I'm going to make $20 an hour, and it takes you however many hours, because each painting can be different, and paintings that have a lot more to them or a larger size, obviously are going to be more expensive. So price by hour, that's one way you could do it. I've never done it myself that way, but that's an option. My go-to, and it is the easiest for me, is that I just let my galleries price my work for me. A little harder to do that if you don't have a gallery yet, but use some of those other methods up till that point. And then for me, once my artwork got into galleries, they asked me how much I wanted to sell them for, and I'm just like, they know their clientele, they know like how wealthy the people in their area are, they know how to compare you to other artists that they've had there that are more experienced, more well known. They know how to eventually bump up your own value if you do well. So, their whole business is in the business of selling art, so they really know what they're doing. So I just let the galleries price my work for me, and then I price my own pieces now based off of their estimate, and that works for me. So there you go. That's pretty much, I think, all the advice I have on pricing artwork. It's kind of a tricky thing when you're starting out, but don't be afraid to just go for a number, try that out. You can always raise your prices once your skill gets better and you've been out there for a while. But the one thing you don't want to do, and I know I use art markets as an example a lot, but that's because that's most of my experience has come from art markets, and my business experience has come from doing art markets. If you have a painting at an art market and you set a price, and you realize a few hours or a day into the market that you're like, wow, it's really too low compared to what other people's prices are, you can't raise it. You shouldn't raise it anyway. You can always lower your prices, like you can always give discounts to people and whatnot. And I've had people tell me all sorts of things. People telling me like, oh, you shouldn't lower your prices because if someone saw it and didn't buy it because it was this price, and now it's in their price bracket because you lowered it and someone else bought it, they'd be mad. It's like, I get that, but stores offer sales and discounts all the time. It's just business. You want to be able to sell your artwork as best you can. And like I said, I just usually wait till the last few hours of a weekend art market to discount prices. But I wouldn't raise my prices, because the people I would be afraid who would get really mad is if they saw the piece, considered buying it, maybe walked around the art market a little while or came back the next day, and then suddenly it's more money. They were like committed to buying it, and now it's suddenly more money than they saw it for because you compared it to other people's artwork and you thought it was too low. No, that's bad etiquette. Don't do that. Because you can lower your prices some, but you don't raise them once they've been posted at that price. Alright, so that's my first little video. This person asked me several questions, and I'm going to try to answer most of those in my next video, and then I'm going to make a separate video, a third video, all on art galleries. So stay tuned for that. Again, my name is Morgan Cameron. My business is Morgan Cameron Art. You can find me at morgancameronart.com, Morgan Cameron Art on Facebook, and at Morgan Cameron Art on Instagram. Yeah, I'm all over those places. So feel free to follow me, like, whatever. But you can send me messages and ask me if you have any other business questions that I don't answer in the next couple videos, and I'll do my best to help you out, because it's a hard, long process, and I've been doing it for years, and I still struggle with all sorts of it. So if you can have anybody help you out and kind of guide you along some of the basics, like, it goes a long way. So if I can do that for anybody, I'm happy to. So send me a message on either my website or my Facebook page, all right? Okay, see you in the next video.